Hello, dot hackers. Today we're going to talk about how to play dot hack fragments as of May 2025, the making of this video. We'll be using PCSX2 version 2.2. There are many other compatible versions beforehand, such as 1.4, 1.6, 1.7, 2.0, current 2.2 stable. There is a 2.3 nightly. These instructions will not work for 1.6 or 1.4. They will, however, work for 1.7, 2.0, 2.2, and 2.3 because they all use the same design. All the plugins are built in, whereas 1.4, 1.6 require plugins for all this to work. Once again, instructions are intended for 2.2 or compatible 2.2 versions. Dothack Fragment was an online role-playing game, not a true MMORPG, where you had instances that up to 3 players can play together on area servers. The main lobby server, however, went offline back in January 2007. Dothack Fragment came out in 2005, November. It was available for public use in Japan for online playing. You had to purchase the retail disc in order to get the game to play on online. And that server was intended for a limited time only up until 2006, but was extended because of the popularity and was given an extension to January 2007. Back in October 2005, players were given this not for resale copy early release version. The instructions in this video will not be compatible for this early release version. The patches are not designed to patch the early release version disk. So if you got the disc that's purple, or you went online and found a ROM of this version, the instructions will not work. Are intended for to work with is the retail copy, the green disc that you see here. Retail copy must be unmodified, must be vanilla, has to be the original green disc. If you have a patched version, the instructions will not work. The patcher only patches a vanilla copy of this game. The patcher cannot patch a patch disk because all the positions of the data have shifted from whatever previously patched version that you may have found online. Recommended to purchase the game, dump the ROM yourself, and patch the ROM. That is the only guaranteed way that the patchers will work. However, there is one confirmed instance where this retail disk did have 2 versions. However, there's no way of knowing with the box or the game disc. You can only know if you open up the game files and found out that you may have had a later version. The patcher works for the earliest version, not a re-release of the green disc. I'm not sure how you would say that, a recent version. But anywho, so if you have problems with patcher 1, use the second patcher I will recommend. But again, only works for retail, will not work for the early release version. That said, let's begin. So we'll be using Windows 10 on this video here. Uh, this is a 64-bit architecture, so let's take a look at that. Here we are. What you want to do is go to a browser, go to pcsx2.net. Right here on the screen, you'll see latest stable and nightly version. Again, the nightly version is version 2.3. The instructions will work with that. However, we will be using the latest stable. You have installer, you have portable, you also have Linux version and Mac version. These instructions, if you're using the Linux version, you can use that on a Steamdeck. But we'll be using the Windows version. We're going to be using the downloader version, the portable version. The next thing you're going to need is the BIOS files of a PS2. You can click on documentation at the top, click next, click dumping BIOS. Here are the instructions on how to dump your BIOS off a PS2. The easiest version is using FragmentBoot. You have FragmentBoot, you have access to uLaunch Elf, where you'll download the elf file called biosdrain.elf. If you run that off of a USB, it will copy your ROM or your BIOS, your PS2 onto USB, and then you can put the USB into your computer, and you can get your BIOS legally obtained for your emulator to work. You're also going to need the patcher called Tellipatch, seen right here. You go over to the right where it says releases, Windows download, click on that. Then you click on the first one, tellipatch.zip, to get the patcher. If this one does not work for you, you can also try FragmentUpdater. Once again, over here on the right where it says releases, click on that, and you can download the version that's compatible for you. I should note that the Tellipatcher only works for Windows. It will not work for Linux or Mac unless you're emulating Windows on your Linux or Mac. FragmentUpdater will work for Linux and Mac as well as Windows. If you need the links for these, you can see them here at the very top. Otherwise, you can go to my written guides at dothack.org/article/fragment. They will be included in the instructions. So with that said, here we have the retail fragment disk, unmodified, original. We have the emulator, we have the BIOS, and we have the Tellipatcher. First thing you want to do is open up the Tellipatcher, copy the files inside, paste them to wherever. Now that we have that there, we have the fragment disk image here called fragment. This is an ISO file. Make sure the file is called fragment, nothing else. So now we click on the patcher, apply patch, hit more info, run anyway. The patcher will do its patching. You must have image burn. And it will download the latest patch files, where it takes the Japanese text on a Google document sheet and it translates it into English. See right there, downloading patches from Google. At the time of this video, the Tellipatcher is pretty much 99.999% translated. There are possibly a few bugs here and there. Obviously, if you find them, please report them. If you use a previously patched disk, it may or may not be up to date. Which is why it's always important to always patch your own disk. And here we have it. Your patch ISO is located at dothack fragment 4.0.iso. Press any key to continue. There is our patched file right there. Now we're going to get the emulator. We do not need these files here that the patcher left behind. Get rid of those. And we no longer need the original fragment copy. We're going to use 7-zip to dump the zip file here, the emulator. We no longer need that. You're going to take these ROM files, We're going to move them into this folder here in a second. If we click on this file here, this will begin the process to set up your emulator. Here it's talking about the BIOS files, so we're going to go ahead and hit Open BIOS Folders. We're going to hit Paste, move the BIOS folders files to this folder here. We can close that. Hit Refresh. Now you'll see that this goes to OneDrive by default. This is not in the emulator's directory. Next. Select the emulator, hit Next. Next. Here we can set up your controllers. I suggest you go ahead and do that now. We're going to use DualShock 2, and I will be using a Xbox controller. Automatic mapping, X input controller. Next, and finish. So now we have version 2.2. It's ready to go. We can add a game directory. Use this one here. Yes. And there's the fragment game. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to Settings, Network and Hard Drives, Enable Ethernet. We're going to choose sockets for device type. If you have nothing available, you can download ECAP. We're going to do Ethernet. That's all we should need to do. However, Linux and Mac users may need to change the DNS values here. You can hit manual and you can change the values for here, but for Windows users, it should all be automatic. Next, we're going to go to controllers, hotkeys, found into controllers. We're going to go to USB port 1. We're going to hit not connected, change it to HID keyboard. We're going to click on automatic mapping, click keyboard, and close. So that's done. Double click fragment. We can speed up the emulator by hitting tab. See it up there. Make sure to only use turbo mode in offline mode. Do not use it in online mode. It could desync you from the server. Go down to online. Select memory card, not formatted. Format this memory card. Yes. And so if you see this message, you'll know that the patch did its job. By default, connect and select will not be available to choose from. If you go down to edit, we can set up our internet configuration here. Go to add setting, memory card 1, hit right, Ethernet adapter, next. Okay, we do not need an ID or password, hit next. Auto, leaving it as setting 1 is fine. And hit OK. Back in 2005, you can hit no for that and hit OK. Back in 2005, some internet required usernames and passwords to log on to. That's what all that's for. Nowadays, internet's pretty much all automatic. So what we're telling the settings there is that everything's automatic. That's fine. Go ahead and load it as is, save it to the memory card. So now the memory card knows how to log on. But once again, connect is still not connected because we saved it to the memory card, but we have not selected the memory card yet. So you'll see right there, memory card slot 1, connection profile was found. Select, choose memory card 1, first one, and now connect is available. Hit connect, we wait. We're online. Go up to the world. We have 3 characters we can make. They're all say unused. You can create a character in offline mode, online mode, doesn't matter which one. Your character is interchangeable between both modes. So if you make a character in offline, you can play with it in offline. If you make a character in offline, you can play with it in online. The only difference is there is a special skill you can only get in offline mode. At some point, you're going to want to do the tutorial in offline. So choose the first slot, hit confirm. Then you have your 3 classes you can choose from: Twin Blade, Blade Master, Heavy Blade, Heavy Axe, Long Arm, and Wave Master. Otherwise, DPS, good balance, attack, defense, tank, range, and also magic. Choose any class you want. Each class has different types of character designs. Most of them look like the characters you've already seen in Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine. Some of the colors are a little bit different. Some of the little designs are different, and you can actually change the colors to get even more options. Now you may notice that these characters look pretty much a little bit jagged. If you want, you can go to settings, you can go to graphics, you can do rendering, choose your adapter at the top, change the internal resolution. We're going to do 4 times and then hit close. Now your characters look a whole lot less jagged. Let's do this one. You can change the height to be taller, average, or short. Too tall. You can make them wider, average, or slender. I'll just do average. Done. Here you can add your points to get a little bonus to your character. This is a fraction of a point. These are not whole points. So if I set attack to 99, the character in game is not going to be 99. Case in points, let's get rid of this. The one thing you want early on in the game is accuracy. You can have all the strength in the world, but it doesn't matter if your attack doesn't land. Let's put everything into accuracy, since this is a physical type character, not a magic type character. So it says P attack, P defense, P accuracy, and P evasion. Then you have M attack, M defense, M accuracy, and M evasion. P for physical, M for magical. We're just going to put everything to accuracy. You'll see that this 99 does not mean your stat is 99 in game. These are just a bonus. Hit done. Give yourself a name. So, remember we plugged in the keyboard earlier, and now the keyboard works. However, if your keyboard is typing in Japanese, you can hit the tilde key, change it to English. Keep getting my X and O's backwards. There we go. All right, so character's name, and you can go back and change things if you like. Otherwise, we're going to move forward. Saves it to the memory card. Now that character is available for offline and online mode. This is the world. We have lobby, guild, bulletin board, and rankings, and then quit. We'll go into lobby. Here it says main lobby. There's only one to choose from. Hit circle. This is the most important message you can see in all of this game. Press triangle button to open submenu. For area server list, you can select chat room. This is the only time it mentions that to get to the area server list, you have to press triangle on this screen. So on this screen, nowhere it says to press triangle. Hit triangle. This is the first option: area server list, area server bookmarks, and chat room list. We choose area server list. Now we get to the different categories of area servers, but there's just only one, main. Back in the day, there was other options. But here we have all the player hosted area servers, and each level is different. The more you play on an area server, the level of that area server will rank up. We have level 30, Dun Loriog, level 15, Macanu, level 19, Lunara Terrace, level 19, Black Sky, level 25, Feline Fort, level 85, Bearcat Server. You'll notice that these two have different colors than the rest. That is just an option that area server hosts can do if they modify their file name for the area server name. Go to level 17, Violet Haze, and level 13, dothack network. On the far right, you'll see it says 0 people on all these area servers. Remember, only up to 3 players can be on an area server at a single time. If we hit square, we can hit the reload button. And if we hit triangle, you can see a little bit more information. If it says 1, 2, or 3 people and you try to connect to that area server and it won't let you in, like this, login failed, error 3002, that means those people have left the root town. You can only join an area server when the players are in the root town or there's no players at all. We'll go to dothack network, which is the one I host. Hit connect. DHN server, dothack network. Area server hosts can choose which root town their area server is. I've chosen Carmenia Gallica. You can choose any of the 5 servers: Macanu, Dun Loriog, Carmenia Gallica, or Oof, and the Nut Slims. This is my character. Hit triangle. You can do skills, see what your character has based on their equipment. Your equipment gives you your skills. Have saber dance, no magic, recovery's rep, nothing for strengthen or weaken. These are buffs. Buffs that strengthen and buffs that weaken. And then there's another tab that's missing that can only be unlocked in the tutorial in the offline mode. Items, you get your standard items. Rolls, you get 2 speed charms. Treasures, nothing yet. And I have no spare equipment. You can only hold 40 items on your character at a time. And you can hold 99 items at the Else Haven, which is that red-headed icon on the map. Key items, nothing unlocked. Event items are only obtained mostly in the online mode. If your server has an event, there will be an NPC standing next to the Chaos Gate right about here. You talk to them, you can participate in one of the yearly events for dothack Fragment. Grunty foods you'll find in fields, and virus cores you'll get from data draining monsters. You can discard items if you're running out of item space. You can just toss items. Status will show your character's equipment. Again, these equipment gave me my skills. And if you remember, we put everything into physical accuracy. That physical accuracy is 4. So putting your stats into a skill gives you a percentage, a very, very, very small percentage. 99 into accuracy gave me 4. So my character accuracy was probably 1, 2, or 3. You're not going to waste time making yourself crazy trying to find the best stats to give your character. Just put them into anything. Your items and equipments are going to give you your stats. If I hit amateur blades, hit triangle, you can see that this blades gives me 1 accuracy. If I go to Nomad's hood, accuracy is 0. If I go to leather armor, accuracy is 0. Leather gloves, accuracy is -3. Some equipment can give you a negative stats, so pay attention. Safety shoes is accuracy 0. So based on my equipment alone, with that -3 and that +1 in physical accuracy, I should have a -2. But because I put 99 into my accuracy, bumped it up to 4. I'm level 1, I have 0 experience. To level up, I need 1,000 experience to get to level 2. 1,000 is the experience required to level up to any level. Money is 1,000 gold points, and my class is a twin blade. And if I hit R2, I can see more skills. So at the top, you see skills for 1 and 2, but then on 3 and 4, it says awakenings. Awakenings are special skills that you and other players can use together if your equipment has an awakening skill. Certain armors will have different names for awakening skills. If my awakening skill on my armor matches the same name skill as another player's armor awakening skill, then we both can do an awakening skill together. Equipment. I hit R1, I can go to hood, body, hands, feet, and weapon. And you see the skills again for each item. So amateur blades gives me saber dance and rep. Nomad's hood, saber dance and rep. Actually, no, that's not true. Okay, amateur blades gives me saber dance. Nomad hood gives me rep. Leather armor gives me nothing. Leather gloves gives me nothing, and safety shoes gives me nothing in terms of skills. Shortcuts is the most important thing in dothack fragment. Unlike dothack infection mutation outbreak quarantine, you had to hit pause to choose a skill or an item. Shortcuts is fragment's way of making sure you never have to press pause again. You can assign, if you hold the shoulder buttons or the trigger buttons, push one of the main 4 PlayStation buttons, you can assign an action or a message. Actions could be a skill or an item. So if I want to give myself saber dance, if I hold L1 in circle, I can do saber dance in the field. If I hold R1 in circle, I can use an item such as a health drink. So now, when I hold R1 and push circle, I can use a health drink on myself. Cards lets you edit your character's card, and you can send a card to a player that's on the same server as you. Friends list, you have online and offline friends list. Your offline is going to be the NPCs you make in the offline mode. Online is all the players you meet in the game. And then log out. This is very important. Unless you want to lose all your items, you must log out from this menu here. If you don't, next time you try to log back in, you'll get an error message that says all your items have been wiped. Items that you have currently equipped, items that you have in your inventory, and the items you may have over here in the Elf's Haven. Remember, your character can hold up to 40 items. Elf's Haven can hold up to 99. If I want to store this, all 5 in there. Now at the top it says I have 8 items out of 40, and my Elf's Haven has 1 of 99. If you lose your items because you did not log out properly, you lose items from inventory and the elf shop. Remember that. Most important thing is the fighting. Fragment is a grinding MMO, well, online role-playing game. You go to keyword, first team, Passover, Aquafield. You'll notice there's red gems. It indicates that the field will have structures of monsters and item chest. It will be, they'll have weather. So the elements down here is wood. The battle level is level 4. So the monsters are going to be level 4. I am level 1. I will most likely get beat. So let's try level 3. It's level 3. Level 3 fire. Fire. Level 4 water. 5. Level 6. 7. You choose different keywords. You can find different fields. Like this is level 15. That'll definitely get killed. Most of these are going to be level 3 and up. If you want levels 1 and 2, you're going to probably have to do offline mode and level up there. I recommend leveling up to level 10 before going to online mode. Otherwise, it's going to be a short game online. Let's do level 3. As a note, you can play Fragment on a real PS2. You just need a fragment book memory card. And then you need a USB. You need to put that patched fragment onto a USB. Load OPL on a PlayStation 2. So here's the item. The yellow chest will give you an item. A blue chest will be trapped. You need to use a fortune wire on a blue chest. These are buffs. It will buff your character with a random stat. Up fort is affecting me, which is my weapon up. Let's look up at the sky. That slug. These phenomenons will appear and disappear randomly on fields. If you push in the right analog stick, you can get the first-person camera. And you can see the shadows in the ground. There's another buff. The buffs are limited time, so hurry up and use them before you lose them. And if I hit triangle, go to items, and if I use a fairy's orb, it'll show me where all the monsters are at. Monster in that direction. Remember what I said about accuracy? See, it says miss. There's a blue chest, which I can use a fortune to open. I'll hold R1 and push circle and use a health point. This. Save dance. Or, since I did it as a shortcut, I can hold L1 and push circle. Whoops. Don't have enough SP. What's that? Mage Soul. And that killed all the monsters. Now this, if I open it, it'll explode. I go to items, I can set a fortune wire on it. Select it. Disarm it, now it's a yellow chest, which means it's safe to open. Safety shoes, which I think I'm already wearing. Yep. If I go to items, you now have safety shoes. But when you're done, go down to the dungeon. If I push, there it is. If you push in L1, R1, you can make the map bigger or get rid of it. Another bonus, I go to items, and if I use speed charm on myself, I move a lot faster. All those missiles. Accuracy is low. Higher accuracy. Let me hit the monsters better. So got poison. I go to items, I can hit antidote on myself. take the poison off. Entrance to the dungeon is right here. Now this is a new field and a new dungeon type that's not available in dothack infection mutation outbreak and quarantine. This is kind of like a Star Wars themed. It's supposed to be a sci-fi themed one. If I go inside, you'll see that the dungeon is more metallic. And most dungeons in dothack infection mutation outbreak quarantine are not metallic on the inside. They're typically stone or flesh. See how this is all metallic? Anywho, when you're done playing the game, whether you got to the boss statue room, you need to leave the dungeon. You leave the dungeon, you need to open your menu and go to log out. I'm sorry, gate out. Return to town. And on the server, then you need to go to log out. Done so, your items should be protected. Go to guild. You can't join a guild from this screen. You can create a guild if you have the item. The treasure item you can only get in the online mode. You create a guild called a guild certificate. Once you create a guild, you can manage your guild and you can list items in the guild shops. You can invite players to the guild only from the lobby screen. Only the guild leader can invite players to join their guild. This screen right here, if there was a player available on the list, you'd select them, then add them to the your guild if they accept. But there's nobody online, so I can't show you that right now. Bulletin board. There's an online bulletin board and an offline. Use the online to see what other people have been posting in this game. We have different topics that people have been posting. And you'll notice that the comments have different names. You can't post a comment with the same title as the post itself, even though it does it by default. You need to make sure when you make a reply that you change the title of your reply. For example, if I hit square, I hit right, the title, you need to give it a random title. And the keyboard did Japanese. But if I were to hit the tilde key, I would normally change it. But I guess it's not working on it. Then you can type your message here. Well, that's working in English. Then preview your message and hit submit. And lastly is rankings. Rankings just shows you who's the best in terms of level per class, per HP, per statues, beaten, offline, online, and so forth. And that's it. And that's pretty much all of Fragment in a nutshell. Offline does have its own story mode. Online does not have a story mode. Fragment Online was intended for players to make their own stories, their own content, using the program that hosts the area server itself. On this screen, you can hit start, and you can do title screen to go back to the title screen if you want to do the offline mode. Like I said, when you're not online, you can use turbo mode. You'll notice that the background's different. You cannot change their backgrounds. And there's my character that I created in online mode. You can also delete your character, but you'll have to hit confirm in order to do so. And you can create 2 more characters. But that's it. That's all I have. I'm not going to spoil the story mode for you. You can watch a video of a live stream I did a long time ago where I did the story mode, save for the final boss. I never made it in the story mode. I had to go back and do that separately. So there's 2 videos for the story mode if you want to just watch the bulk of the game without the final boss. And then the last video is for the final boss. And that's all I have in terms of setting this all up. You can do additional things, however. If you go to graphics, if you go to texture replacer, you can dump the textures from the game. So if I were to hit dump textures and then hit open for this directory, which is in the OneDrive documents PCSX2 textures, open there, you'll see that there is a folder SLPS25527. That's for fragments. If you dump textures for other games, they will have their own game IDs and folders. Click on that. You have 2 folders, one for dumps and one for replacements. The emulator dumps your textures here. These textures are all transparent because they're not saved as an alpha channel for whatever reason, and they're typically flipped upside down, as you'll see right here. The image here is upside down. But let's say, for example, if I were to right-click that, open it with an image editor such as Photoshop, you can go ahead and edit your game texture. And then you can move this texture into the other folder, replacements. It's empty because we have not replaced anything yet. But make sure you have load textures enabled for the emulator to pull the texture that's right here in this folder. So as you can see, the image is there, it's upside down, and also it's not an alpha channel, but I can make a new layer on top of that. And let's see here, my character is wearing this blue cloth, yellow trim with the silver armor and with silver hair. So the hair texture is this portion right here. So if I were to highlight that area, and let's say I give my character some red hair. I did a little area here. This is a new layer. And make it red. If I blend that, the layer below, let's do maybe, how bright do I want this? Let's do it that way. Okay. So if I save that image as a PNG, and if I add it to the replacement folder here, I go back to the game and I check load textures. Now my character has red hair. You could do that for all your characters. As long as you dump the texture, get the texture for your character, make your modifications from that file from the dump folder, and then you move your edit to the replacement folder, your character will now have whatever changes you've done. It could be the color of the hair. It does not change the wireframe. It only changes the texture. So you can put whatever you want on it. You can erase the whole pattern and designs, put whatever texture you want. But again, the wireframe will not change. So you can't add wings, for example, to your character. You can't remove the bangs that this character currently has. The body model will still remain the same, but the texture, the colors, and the designs, you can make whatever you want. And it will load in game. It'll only show to you. Other players who are playing Fragment will not see this texture. They'll see the default one. If you want them to see your edits on their screen as well, you need to take this file and send it to them. And make sure that they put it in the SLPS 25527 folder replacements folder with whatever edits you create. And they too will see your edits. And that's pretty much all I got. This is the easiest way to play Fragment these days. A lot easier than it was back on 1.4 and 1.6. It's mostly in English. There's pretty much nothing left to find, really, because all the text was already dumped, and all to do is just replace it. The only problem is there could be some bugs. Some text could have been too far beyond the window. Maybe there was a punctuation error somewhere. Either way, setting up Fragment's easy. All you need is the emulator. You need the BIOS for the emulator. You need the original game. You need to patch the game. And the most important step you need to do is you need to set up your memory card and enable online mode on the emulator. Only PCSX2 offers an online option because the PCSX2 emulator emulates the network adapter you had to buy for PlayStation 2 back in the day. That's why only this emulator can do it. Other emulators such as Aether SX2 and Nether SX2 are not emulating the network adapter, so therefore they cannot go online. Other emulators such as DuckStation, whatever you're trying to do on a different emulator, it will not work because that network adapter is not being emulated. Same thing with RetroArch. If you're trying to run the PCSX2 core, it does not come with the network adapter emulator with it. So that doesn't even work either. And like you see here, my texture edit with my red hair shows up in game. Pretty much shows up the entire time. The only thing it doesn't change is my profile picture. That would be a different image. So if I go back, go to dumps, and you can see my profile picture has not been dumped because I have not seen it on screen yet. Make sure you're aware of that. If your emulator isn't showing an image, it won't dump that part of the game yet. It has to be seen on screen. So if I keep playing this right here, see in the background, new images keep getting dumped as I'm progressing. Now the bear profile picture showed up. The bear one, there it is. I can go ahead and color that as well if I wanted. So let's, for example, I give bear, let's give him a red face. Go ahead and select all that. This is just real quick. Professional image editor, photo editor would probably hate that I'm doing it this way. But again, this is just to show you as an example. I change that all to red, save that, and go get that image. Put it into the replacement folder. Go back to the emulator. I hit uncheck and hit load textures again. Now bear's face is red. So play how you want, do what you want. Fragment is online for the foreseeable future. You can play with your friends online. Again, up to 3 players can go together. So yourself and 2 other friends. Doesn't have to be 2 friends. You can do with 1 person, or you can play solo. Super easy. Easy to play online. Easy to update the graphics instead of having the default native PS2 graphics where everything's all jagged because of the hard edges. Going up to 4 times can definitely make a great improvement to make this game look better in modern times. And that's all I have today. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to dothack Network if you haven't already, where pretty much I talk about all things dothack and content like this on how to play old games in the modern era, and even lore dumping. So I did a video recently on the background of the world where your character is playing in, why it looks all post-apocalyptic. A video on that, and I'll have more videos in the future. Till then, thanks for watching.